Well, this past year has not been without a few stumbles and very public apologies from Congressman Terry.
Yeah, most recent was in April when he made a joke at a hearing on the Hill for General Motors.
I'm sorry for being late, but my plane was canceled for mechanical reasons, probably an ignition switch.
Well, faulty ignition switches, as you know, led to 13 deaths, dozens of crashes. Families of those who died were in the room to hear Terry's joke. GM recalled millions of vehicles since February, but lawmakers say the company knew about the problem 13 years ago and did nothing.
As for Congressman Terry, he issued a statement saying, quote, "No excuses. I said something I shouldn't have, and I apologize." Terry added he thinks everyone can understand what it's like to say something and not be able to take it back.
But that wasn't his only misstatement. Back in October, during the federal government shutdown, Congressman Terry drew national criticism after saying he would put his needs above others in crisis, had no plans to give up his congressional salary, but later issued another apology saying that was not leadership, not how he was raised, not in his nature, and not what he wants to teach his sons.
Well, we are joined now by Congressman Terry. And Congressman, when you hear and see some of the dirty laundry we're just airing out here, I can't imagine it's comfortable looking back on those moments.
No, it's not comfortable at all, and those are huge gaffes for me, and it isn't what I represent, and so the apologies were sincere. You wish you can take things back, and I don't know what more to say about it. You know, I'd love to have those moments back. Sometimes you make mistakes.
All right, let's talk about the budget now. The debt limit, you voted against the bill, saying it fails to cut spending. But until something's done, won't this issue continue to surface again and again and again?
Say that again.
I mean, if we don't do something about the spending issue, I mean, it's
absolutely.
we're going to be looking at sequestration or government shutdowns every other year.
Well, first of all, we need to do regular order in Congress, and that's what's not occurring, and that comes back to the original question about people deservedly being angry at Congress because we aren't dealing with those type of issues. What I try to point out is that we in the House are trying to do the regular process, which means we do the budget. We took a budget vote. And I'll tell you, budgets are hard votes because you sit there, you're saying, here's the plan that we have to reduce spending. And you vote on it. You put your card in and you push yes or you push no. And I push yes because we have to have the plan. What business, small or large or family, doesn't have at least some budget roadmap for themselves? But Congress hasn't passed one in 6 years. I should say Senate hasn't. So we take the hard vote in the House of Representatives. We send the budget to the Senate, and it sits on Harry Reid's desk. Yes, a budget means you have to take a stand on controversial spending issues. And Harry Reid is being political. He wants to make sure that none of his incumbents on the Democratic side will take a tough vote, which is why they've only had 120 votes in the Senate this year, when the House has had well over 400, 350 of them still sitting on Harry Reid's desk. The other part of that is that we have 8 of the 12 appropriations. Once you do a budget, then you actually have to have a bill to fund those. Budgeted. The real dollars are laid out in the appropriation bills, and we've done 8 of the 12. The Senate's done 0. We can't reduce the spending. We can't have a plan to get to a balanced budget, which is one of my goals, unless you're willing to take the tough votes.
Now, one of the things that Mr. Ashford said a way to cut spending was to get rid of pensions, get rid of health care for congressmen. What do you think?
Well, sure, that'll be about 1 billionth, or I don't know what it would be, but it wouldn't really resolve the issue. Members of Congress are treated by way of any of those type of things as every federal employee. The reality is what Congress would have control over, which is about 26% of the budget. We have reduced that. Real dollar reductions, not the fake we expected to do 10% increase, but we cut it to 5 so we save money. We're talking about less dollars than the year before. 3 times now. And that's important to show that we're moving in the right directions. The other part of the budget, the other 60% plus, are things that aren't under Congress control. They run on autopilot. And those are the ones that are increasing at nearly double digits per year. So we have to be clear that if we're really going to close the $500 billion deficit to zero and stop the deficit spending and adding to our national debt, we're going to have to make some tough decisions about the future of some of our programs. Not whether or not they're going to exist, because we want to make sure that Medicare and Social Security are there for our seniors and Medicaid is there, but we need to make some changes so we can manage the dollars better. And right now, the politics doesn't allow us to do this, even though if you look at our budget, we plan to protect the seniors, but yet reduce the outlays.
But can't you send a message with your own pension and your own pay?
Sure.
Because you have to understand what the...
nobody, 435 of us in the House, I'll guarantee you, no one is there because of a pension. You want to wipe them away? I don't care.
Okay.
That's symbolic if you're trying to reduce the budget. I don't care. Do it. I don't care. I'm there to make our country a better place.
We're talking about it's going to take this, it's going to take this. We have to start doing those things. So who does that? Who is our elected representative? Is it our senators? Is it we need a new president? Is it, what do we do to make those changes happen then?
Well, the voters have to stand up in certain areas of our country and say, my representative has been part of the problem. Nevada, let's say. When people say, you haven't passed a budget, well, the House did. And we sent it to Harry Reid. That's the process. And he refuses to bring it up. So what I'm asking the voters here is, judge me on what I've done. Because I voted. I took the hard votes. People have said reduce spending. I took that vote. I like taking that vote because I share in that goal.
All right. Well, up next we have more of our conversation with Congressman Terry.
Including questions you wanted to ask. Stay tuned.